Welcome back. I want to ask you, Dr. James, Mr. Manamela was suggesting to me that, well, it's not going away, you guys aren't going away, Nkandla's not going away, the ANC's not going away, we all know that you're all going to be back in Parliament. I accept the technical point and the legal point made by Dr. Mulder, and he's free to comment too. But what now does happen?
Well, we, as promised, took some legal advice on this question, and we have every bit of determination to petition the Speaker, once elected, to introduce the ad hoc committee formally within Parliament to take over what was not completed in the previous Parliament. And so we will petition the Speaker to do so, and we don't know who the Speaker will be, but we will make every effort and get as much support as we possibly can from all the opposition parties in Parliament to reopen the formal process to establish the ad hoc committee.
Dr. Mulder, just on that, I mean, wasn't this inevitably going to be a sort of huge political bung fight in which one party would want desperately, or parties would want desperately to put the president in the dock, as it were, and another party would say, no, 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 no. I mean, inevitably this is going to be a political contestation.
Absolutely, but that was necessary to do that. And I know the ANC says that it was going to be a political thing, but it had to be political for the simple reason that the person involved and who the fingers are pointing at, the president himself, before the election was the #1 candidate of a certain party. And clearly we argued that before we go to the polls on the 7th of May, that the electorate should know exactly what the facts would be before they go to the polls, knowing that this person is #1 on the list for the ANC. You know, we all talk about Nkandla and we say, well, it's 246 million rand. But how much is that? How do we really realize that? Let me give you an example. If we spend 674,000 rand today and tomorrow and the day after that, and we continue spending that amount of money each and every day for 1 year, then we've spent 246 million rand. So we are talking about a huge, huge investment here into the private residence of one person, be that the president. So the fact of the matter is that we say, the ANC has said before, one of the members in the committee said, we want justice. And we responded, say, yes, you want justice, but just not before the 7th of May. Let's just get beyond and get to the election. Well, fine. Now we are beyond the election, and I would like to see that the ANC supports the ad hoc committee to take it further.
So let me ask you, Mr. Manamela, on that. Now that the election's over, does the public at large now have a legitimate expectation, if I could put it that way, that Parliament will now do its job and inquire into this properly so that the country at large will know what Parliament says about the Public Protector's report and the President's response thereto?
There's a misunderstanding here, and I think it's quite unfortunate, particularly from the Freedom Front, Dr. Mulder. The role of the ad hoc committee was not to make an inquiry, period. We were not put as an ad hoc committee to make an investigation. And I think that any suggestion to that effect, which is why I think, the various political parties had different expectations as to what this committee.
What do you say the committee should do?
The public protector has done an investigation. She has presented a report. The president has responded to that report. Our role as a committee was to look at the response, of the president into that effect. South Africans know what is in the public protector's report. They also know what is, the president's response to that effect. Yeah. And therefore, there was no intention to hide or to suppress the facts which are in the public protector's report. So I think to suggest that we were trying to or successfully suppress the Nkandla issue because of election. I think it's actually malicious.
No, it's not.
On the part of the opposition.
It's absolutely the truth.
We don't even need the DA or the Freedom Front to petition the Speaker or anybody in order for this to be done.
Then please, please explain. Please explain. Please,
the ad hoc committee is reconstituted.
Mr. Manamela, can you hear me? If you can hear me, you got to. I want to ask you.
I can hear you.
Yes, good. Then I want to ask you this. Then I don't understand. I'm somewhat confused. If, as I understand you, and I do understand this, that the committee wasn't there to do its own investigation, but to do an evaluation of presumably the President's response in the light of the Public Protector's report. The two gentlemen here can correct me if I'm wrong. Why would that have required such a long time? Surely that could be done in a couple of days.
Of course.
Why did it need so much time that it couldn't be done before the election? That's what I'm curious about.
No, I mean, your curiosity is understandable, and I'm sure, Dr. James and Dr. Mulder would respond to that, because when we're discussing the agenda, the program for the committee, their submission was a long list of people that, that needs to come before the committee to speak to their various work, civil society to come in and make submissions, the public protector to come and speak to the report, the president. Okay. I mean, the IFP was insistent that the president, should also come and appear.
So are you saying, before I go to
his response?
Before I go to ad break, just to ask you, so I can ask my two guests in Cape Town after the break, are you suggesting that ultimately the responsibility for this not being completed in time lies at the door of the opposition parties because they wanted to extend the inquiry beyond where you guys wanted to?
No. They were not saying, and I think we were quite clear and actually posed that question. And we were all in one mind that we are not conducting an inquiry as an ad hoc committee.
I understand that.
People are being asked to appear. No. We also hold that responsibility. I, for instance, want to ask the public protector, a question or two. Why has she left certain parts of her reports, investigations and recommendations open-ended? Why has she not finalized those investigations and instead referred them to, the SIU? So all of us wanted certain questions to be answered from the various people. I wanted to ask the ministers, in the security cluster, why did they conduct, a parallel investigation, and what has been done?
Mr. Manamela, I got you. I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. I understand. I have to take a break, and we'll come back, and I want to ask my two guests in Cape Town to respond.
News that moves. ENCA.com.